Hello! Welcome to the Learn American English channel, where you learn naturally so you can speak naturally. In this video, we are going to listen to conversations between a father and son about love and the stories surrounding it. This video is divided into 3 parts, where the characters talk about their first love story, and breakup. There will be a listening comprehension quiz at the end of each scene. Listen carefully and see if you get all of the questions right. Be sure to stay with us until the end of the video. We'll point out important words from the conversations, everyday slang, and the most common way to say things in English. Watch for these words and phrases in the subtitles. You'll find their meanings in the vocabulary section in the last part of the video. First, let's listen as this father goes down memory lane and tells his son about the first time he ever fell in love. Are you excited? This should be fun.
Hey, Dad. The barbecue you made was fantastic. Thank you so much. I heard you learned it from Grandpa, and Mom fell for you because of it. You've told me that story before. But I've got a question for you. Was Mom your one and only love? I mean, the only woman you've ever loved?
Well, not exactly. I love your mother deeply, but there was someone else when I was younger, about 10 years before I met your mom.
Really? I want to hear about it.
Back when I was 14, we lived in that old house near the mountain. You know, with your uncles and aunt. We had a blast together, always playing in the backyard until your grandpa got back from work. With 4 siblings, there was never a dull moment. Our neighbors, Bruno and Nicole, were like family, too. They'd come over every afternoon through their backyard to ours, and we'd all play together.
Wow, you still remember those days. So your houses were connected at your backyards?
Exactly. We were pretty poor, and our folks didn't have enough money to finish building the fence going around the house. But it worked out well for us. Bruno and Nicole would come over after school, and we'd have a great time playing together.
Those must have been some fun times, Dad.
Bruno was a really nice kid, polite and a bit shy. Being younger than Nicole, he usually played with your younger brother and me. Nicole, on the other hand, being older, would play with my sister mostly, but sometimes we'd all play together. Boys and girls, everything was normal. We were just kids. I wasn't thinking about girls at that point. We'd hang out with our neighbors, and that was that.
Got it. So did something happen one day?
Well, one day my siblings went to visit Grandma with Dad, leaving me at home with Mom, since I was feeling a bit sick. I was bored out of my mind. So I went wandering around the house, checking every room for something to do, but I couldn't find anything interesting, so I went out to the yard to call Bruno and Nicole over to play, but they didn't answer. I figured they were busy, or maybe their mom had grounded them.
Must have been tough being stuck at home while everyone else was out having fun.
Yeah, it was a bit frustrating. But as I was heading back to bed, I heard this mesmerizing singing. It was like nothing I'd ever heard before, and it was a song I really loved. I thought it might be one of our neighbor's cousins, so I went to check it out. You know, we could see across our yards. And there she was.
Wow, Dad, what was she like?
She was wearing this lovely blouse and blue pants with eyes that seemed to sparkle and hair as black as night. She was slim with flawless skin. It was like something out of a dream.
She sounds really beautiful, Dad.
You're probably wondering who she was. Well, it was Nicole, our neighbor. She was the one singing that song. I don't know why, but I'd never seen her like that before. I fell for her instantly. My heart was racing so fast I forgot all about being sick. I was feeling all sorts of emotions at once. Nervous, excited, happy. It was overwhelming.
Wow, Dad. Sounds like it was love at first sight, but at the same time not, since you already knew her.
The next day, my siblings and I were out in the yard, ready to play just like always. But something had changed for me. I couldn't look at Nicole the same way anymore. I was consumed by love. But I couldn't just tell her how I felt, so I decided to write her a love letter. It was my first time writing something like that, so I didn't know where to start. I ended up writing 5 whole pages.
5 pages? That's a lot, Dad.
Can you believe it? I was so out of my mind. I poured my heart out, listing everything I admired about her, even our imagined future together as husband and wife. I was completely lost in it.
That's quite something. So did you end up sending the letter?
Yeah, I left it under her door, hoping she'd understand how I felt. But instead, her sisters found it, and they started laughing when they read the 5 pages. They asked if I knew who sent it to Nicole, but I played dumb. We never spoke of it again, and over time, I forgot about it. She was my first love, and she never even knew it.
Wow, that was such an intriguing story. Do you know what happened to her? Is she still around?
Honestly, I have no idea. I moved away and I lost touch with her.
Well, Dad, I'm just grateful that you eventually met Mom. Your love story with her is the one that matters most to me. Thanks for sharing that part of your past with me.
You're right, son. Meeting your mom was the best thing that ever happened to me. Our love story is what truly matters. Thanks for listening, son.
Here are some reading comprehension questions to see how well you understood the conversation between the father and his son. Why was the dad at home alone while his siblings went out one day? Answer: he was feeling sick. How did the dad first realize his feelings for Nicole? Answer: he heard her singing and was mesmerized by her appearance and voice. What did the dad do after realizing his feelings for Nicole, and how did it turn out? Answer: he wrote her a love letter, which her sisters found and laughed about, and Nicole never knew about his feelings. Listen as a dad talks to his son late at night about love. Stay with us to the end to discover this father's secret to a happy relationship.
Son, why aren't you sleeping? It's really late.
Nothing's wrong, Dad. I'm just not as sleepy, and I was thinking about something.
If you're thinking about something, then tell me. I want to know.
Well, I was wondering, do you love Mom? I mean, how much do you love her? I'm just curious.
Seriously, how could you ask if I love your mom? Of course, I love her.
I know you love her. I've seen you together. It's like you were just married.
Oh, really? I didn't notice. Your mom? She's perfect.
Someday, just someday, I would really like to have a relationship like yours.
And I'm sure you will have one. But why do you ask? Don't tell me you're in love, son.
No, it's not that. I mean, I like a girl from school, but I don't think I love her that much. In fact, I think it's impossible to love someone as you love Mom. Seriously.
Don't say that. Someday you will fall in love, and then you'll think differently. You'll see.
Yeah, maybe. But how do you do it? I mean, how can you still be so in love with each other?
Well, I think it's because we've been through difficult times, and that made our love even stronger.
Really? Can you tell me? I want to know your love story.
All right, I'll tell you. You're about to turn 15, and someday I'd like you to find someone to love how I love your mom. It all started when I was at the university. In fact, it began at the student orientation.
Student orientation.
Yes, we had to go to the college campus to receive some things from the institution. Many people went with their parents, but I didn't because I was no longer a teenager. I was a bit older. I started studying at the university when I was 25 years old, and I lived alone. When I was there, I was sitting on one of the chairs in the classroom when suddenly I saw a beautiful girl. She had curly hair, and she was smiling. I liked her a lot.
So, what did you do?
She was younger than me, so I approached her and said hello. She looked a little shy, but she waved back. I asked her name, and we talked about our lives for a moment. She had gone there with her family, so she had to look for them. So she went to her home with her family, of course, and I went to my place. But we both were about to start studying at the same college.
So, you were going to see her again at college?
Lucky for me, that's what happened. We met again at college, talked some more, and I finally asked her out.
That sounds amazing, Dad.
Yeah, it was. Soon after, she introduced me to her parents, and I introduced her to my family. We had some great moments together. Then one day, while I was in my language class at the university, I heard a girl talking, so I turned back to see who it was. And there she was, one of the most beautiful girls I'd ever seen in my life. Her eyes were big and beautiful. Her smile was angelic, and her voice was sweet. You see, I had always dreamed of having a girlfriend with big, beautiful eyes, and she looked just like that.
Wait, Dad. But Mom was your girlfriend already, right?
Yes, she was. And it just so happened that your mom always wore her hair up in a bun on her head. But this day she was wearing it down and she looked completely different. I fell in love with the same woman twice. It was a confusing moment, but your mom and I laughed about it later.
That sounds like a close call.
Indeed, it was. Clearly, I had eyes only for your mom. That's the moment I really knew she was the one for me. But we faced bigger challenges. Not long after, your mom had to move to another country for her studies. It was tough being so far apart.
What did you guys do?
We decided to make it work. This was before the internet and video chats, so I visited her during holidays and wrote letters. I wrote her a letter every day. It wasn't easy, but we really cared for each other.
And then what happened?
After she finished her studies, she came back and we knew we wanted to stay together. It was a test of our commitment, but we made it through stronger than before. Then I asked her to marry me and she said yes. Then we got married, traveled the world as we had promised, and eventually we were blessed with a wonderful child, you. She told me later that what really sealed the deal for her was my great barbecue cooking skills. But I like to think it was my charming personality.
That's funny, Dad. Wow, that's a great story.
Yes, it shows our journey wasn't easy, but it's ours. Your mom and I learned that distance could challenge us, but it couldn't break us. So the only advice I can give you is, if you love someone, be patient and committed no matter the distance.
Yeah, Dad, I understand. Thank you for sharing your story with me.
You're welcome, son. Always remember, love is worth fighting for, but it's important to do it with commitment and patience.
Let's tune in as Josh's dad shares some good advice on maintaining a healthy balance between his new girlfriend and his friendships with other girls.
Good morning, Josh. I'm heading off to work now. I left some money for you on the table.
Okay, Dad, thanks for the lunch money. Have a good day. I'll see you later, I guess.
Hold on a sec. What's wrong? You look sad. Did something happen?
I'm fine, Dad. Just go to work. Don't worry about me.
Come on, I know you well enough to know when something's bothering you. You can tell me.
All right, fine. It's about...
I already know. You have a problem with a girl, right?
How do you know? I didn't tell you anything about that yet.
It's possible. I'm old enough to pick up on those kinds of things. I've been there myself, plus you're my son. I know you very well.
Well, you're right. I didn't tell you this, but I had a girlfriend. Well, I have one, but I don't want Mom to know about it. Please. She won't understand. Can I trust you, Dad?
Of course. Now tell me, who is this girl?
Well, she's one of our neighbors, Joselyn. I'm sure you know her.
Joselyn? Of course, I know her.
Yeah, well, we've been friends for more than 5 years, and I've always liked her. So I asked her to be my girlfriend last month, and happily she said yes. That was amazing.
Of course she had to say yes. You're my son, and you're a good boy. Congratulations.
Yes, Dad, that was great. But then something happened. I'm feeling very sad.
What happened? Don't tell me you broke up with her. Did that happen?
Yeah, we broke up. We broke up yesterday, and I feel terrible now. I don't know what to do.
Okay, don't panic. Just relax and tell me, how did that happen? Tell me everything.
All right, I'm going to tell you. It turns out that she's a very jealous girl.
Seriously?
She gets angry just because I talk to other girls in school and in the neighborhood, and she gets angry every time I talk to Susan. Do you remember Susan, our neighbor?
Yes, of course, I remember Susan. You've been friends since you were kids.
Yeah, well, she's like my best friend, and we sometimes hang out together just like friends do. I don't like her at all, but Joselyn says she's in love with me. She says I don't want to admit it, but that's not true. Susan is just my friend. But my girlfriend didn't believe me and broke up with me. I tried to explain to her I love her and not Susan, but she didn't want to understand.
I see. How often do you hang out with Susan?
No, we don't really go out on dates. We talk every day and sometimes grab ice cream or burgers together. Susan has always been there for me since we were kids. But Dad, that doesn't mean I have romantic feelings for her. She's just a really good friend.
Son, it's great to have such a good friend. But when you're in a relationship, the dynamics change a bit. It's not about cutting off friendships, but about finding a balance.
What do you mean?
Well, when I started dating your mom, I had many close female friends. However, I knew I had to adjust how often I saw them to show your mom she was my priority. No woman, or man for that matter, wants to feel like they're competing with another person for their partner's time.
So you think I should see Susan less?
It's not just about seeing her less, but about being open with Joselyn about your interactions. Transparency is key. Maybe involve Joselyn when you hang out with Susan, so she can see for herself that it's purely platonic.
I guess that makes sense. It just feels like I'm losing a friend.
You're not losing a friend. You're respecting your relationship. It's about making sacrifices sometimes and showing Joselyn she's your main focus. This is part of growing up and being in a committed relationship.
Thanks, Dad. I never looked at it that way. I'll talk to Joselyn and try to fix things. I really want to make it work with her.
Good, that's the spirit. Just remember, the right balance can strengthen both your friendship and your relationship.
I'll remember that. Thank you, Dad. Love you.
I love you too, son. I'm always here to help.
Now, let's review vocabulary from these conversations. First, we'll review some of the natural-sounding everyday phrases used by native English speakers. Watch the video again after you study the vocabulary words to learn them even better, and subscribe to see our other videos. Barbecue, a method of cooking food over an open fire or on a grill. Fell for, to begin to love someone. Blast, a great time, very fun experience. Dull moment, a boring or uneventful time. Grounded, punished by being made to stay at home. Mesmerizing, very attractive or captivating. Out of my mind, extremely excited or agitated, not thinking clearly. Love at first sight, to immediately fall in love with someone the first time you see them. Consumed by love, completely filled with feelings of love. Hang out, to spend time relaxing or enjoying oneself in a casual way with someone else. Jealous, feeling or showing envy of someone or their achievements and advantages. Platonic, a relationship that is only friendly without romantic or sexual interest. Transparency, being open and honest with no secrets. Dynamics, the forces or properties that stimulate growth, development, or change within a system or process. Were the conversations relatable? Try using these conversations with your family and friends. Thank you for watching the Learn American English channel, where you learn naturally so you can speak naturally. Please click the like button and subscribe to our channel to see more videos like this one.